she is conquered. That proud woman who dared to think she could resist me. After yesterday, she has nothing left to grant me. I am still too full of my happiness to be able to appreciate it, but I am astonished by the unsuspected charm I felt. But yet, it is not the charm of love. No, the pleasure I feel, even yet, is only the soft impression of the feeling of victory. At least the idea pleases me, and I should like it to be true. I cling to this view which saves me from the humiliation of thinking that I might depend in any way upon the very slave I enslaved myself, or that I do not contain in myself the plenitude of my happiness. I can break or bend these new ties at any time. But I'm already talking about breaking off, and you still don't know how I got here. Yesterday, on a day fixed beforehand by herself, I presented myself before her. I spare you the preliminaries, which you have seen repeated in my letters and hers, her worthiness, my complaints about her severity, her duty, and so forth. I could tell that she was more moved than she had been. She trembled. Her voice showed a strong emotion, but she desired my happiness, she said at last. So, throwing myself at her feet, I exclaimed in that dramatic tone of mine, you know, "Ah, cruel woman, can there exist any happiness for me which you do not share? Ah, never, never. I make an oath at your feet to possess you or die." As I spoke those last words, our eyes met. I do not know what she saw or thought she saw in mine, but she rose terrified and escaped from my arms. Well then, death. I got up and looked at her. Her quick breathing and trembling proved that I had obtained the effect I desired. But I went on. I came, did I not, to return your letters. I approached her. I beg you, take them. Leave me nothing that can weaken my courage. Then I clasped her in my arms, without her defending herself in the least, and said, "Adorable woman, you will never know how much you were loved. May your days be brightened by all the happiness of which you have deprived me. At least reward this wish with a regret, with a tear, and believe that the last of my sacrifices will not be the most difficult for my heart. Farewell." I felt her heart beating violently. I observed the change in her face. She was suffocated by tears, but only a few painful ones flowed. It was at that moment that I feigned to go, but detaining me by force, she said, "No, listen to me, let me go," I answered. "You will listen to me. I wish it. I must fly from you, I must." "No," she cried. At this last word, she rushed, or rather fell into my arms in a swoon. I still doubted my success. I feigned a great terror. But I guided her towards the place I had chosen on my arrival as the field of my glory, and she came to herself, already surrendered to her happy conqueror. You see, I departed in no respect from the true principles of this war, which, we have so often remarked, is so like the other. I forced the enemy to fight when she wished only to refuse battle. By clever maneuvers, I obtained the choice of battlefield. I inspired the enemy with false confidence, and I only joined action when I had an assured retreat, by which I could retain all I had conquered before. Judge me then as you would any general. This is what happened afterwards. I expected the usual tears and despair, but I found a really frightening sort of resistance. Imagine a woman seated, immovably still, seeming neither to think nor hear, a woman whose staring eyes flowed with quite continual tears. I feared I had gained a useless victory. I fell back on the usual commonplaces, and among them happened to be this. Are you in despair because you made me happy? At these words, her face regained its heavenly expression. You are happy then? And happy through me? I added praises and tender words. Then her whole body relaxed. Letting me take her hand, she said, I cannot endure my existence except as it serves to make you happy. From this moment, you will have neither refusals nor regrets from me. With this, she surrendered to me. The ecstasy was complete and mutual. And for the first time, my own outlasted the pleasure. I only left her arms to fall at her knees to swear an eternal love to her, and I must admit, I believed what I said. Ah! Why are you not here to balance the charm of this action with that of its reward? I hope I can take as agreed upon the pleasant arrangement I proposed to you in my last letter. Can you be so busy that you do not read my letters through? Remember, the new lover wishes to lose none of his old rights as friend. Make haste, though. Get rid of your dull Belleroche. Abandon the whining Dulcinea, and concern yourself with me. I send you all love's kisses. Goodbye, as of old.
My dear child, I was very anxious to thank you for the good news you gave me of my nephew, and equally anxious to send you my sincere congratulations on your own account. We cannot help but see in this a stroke of Providence. If I am to believe what I am told, my nephew, whom I confess I love to a point of weakness, has wronged many women. Indeed, prizes almost equally the seducing and the ruining of them. Think now, my dear beauty, that instead of all the dangers you would have had to run, you will have the satisfaction of having been the principal cause of Valmont's conversion. I have no doubt that it was largely due to your courageous resistance, and that a moment of weakness on your part might have left my nephew in a perpetual state of infidelity. I expect you here in a few days, my charming daughter. Come and rejoice with your tender mother that you have kept so well the promise you made her, that you would never do anything which was unworthy of her and of you.
It was only yesterday, madam, that I received your delayed reply and the severe truths it contained. It would have killed me then and there if my existence were still my own, but it belongs to another. That other is Monsieur de Valmont. All I can tell you is that I was placed by Monsieur de Valmont between his death or his happiness, and I chose the latter. When my heart is most torn, when I feel I can no longer endure my torture, I say to myself, Valmont is happy. I have consecrated myself to your nephew for his sake. I am ruined. You see how little I can be affected by your fear that one day he might destroy me, for before he wishes to do so, he must have ceased to love me. Then how could anyone else's reproaches hurt me? You've now read my heart, madam. I'd rather lose your esteem by telling the truth than make myself unworthy of it by lying.